Jack Mallory, age 32, wants to survive as an outlaw while secretly protecting the widows in town from poverty. The main problem? A ruthless gang leader named Colt demands Jack steal more, but Jack keeps giving the money away instead of sharing it. The biggest secret: Jack's own mother died as a widow when he was 12 because no one helped her. The setting is a dusty frontier town called Red Mesa in 1882, where widows have no rights and often starve. Before we continue, if you are new on this channel, please click on the like button and subscribe for more interesting stories. Let's continue. The gunshot echoed across Main Street just as Jack Mallory stepped out of the bank. He froze. People screamed and scattered like rabbits. Jack's hand went to his gun, but he didn't pull it. Not yet. He looked left, then right, searching for the shooter. A woman's voice cried out from the alley beside the general store. Jack ran toward it. When he turned the corner, he saw her. Mrs. Clara Bennett. She was on her knees in the dirt, holding her arm. Blood soaked through her sleeve. A man in a black hat stood over her, his gun still smoking. "You gonna pay what you owe, or you gonna bleed?" the man said. Jack recognized him. His name was Pike. He worked for Colt Brennan, the gang leader who controlled everything in Red Mesa. Pike collected debts. He didn't care if you were a widow or a child. If you owed money, you paid. "I told you," Clara said, her voice shaking. "I don't have it. My husband died 3 months ago. I got nothing." Pike spat on the ground. "Then I guess you lose the house." Jack stepped forward. His boots crunched on the gravel. Pike turned fast, his gun swinging toward Jack. "Easy," Jack said, raising one hand. "No need for more shooting." Pike squinted. "Mallory, what do you want?" "Let her go," Jack said. Pike laughed. "You giving orders now? Last I checked, you work for Colt same as me." Jack didn't answer. He just stared at Pike, his jaw tight. Clara looked up at Jack. Her face was pale. She didn't know him well, but everyone in Red Mesa knew his name. Jack Mallory was an outlaw. He robbed stagecoaches. He stole from banks. People whispered about him in church and locked their doors when he rode past. But right now, Clara didn't look afraid of Jack. She looked afraid of Pike. "You gonna shoot me over some widow?" Pike said. "Colt won't like that." "I don't care what Colt likes," Jack said. That was a lie. Jack cared a lot. Colt Brennan was the most dangerous man in the territory. He killed people for less than disobedience. But Jack couldn't stand there and watch Pike hurt Clara. Pike's finger twitched on the trigger. Jack moved faster. He drew his gun and fired. The bullet hit Pike's hand. The gun flew out of his grip and clattered against the wall. Pike screamed and grabbed his bleeding fingers. "Get out of here," Jack said. Pike backed away, cursing. "Colt's gonna hear about this, Mallory. You're dead." Jack didn't respond. He just watched Pike stumble down the alley and disappear around the corner. Then Jack turned to Clara. She was still on her knees, breathing hard. The blood on her sleeve was spreading. "Let me see," Jack said. Clara hesitated. Then she held out her arm. Jack knelt beside her. He pulled a bandana from his pocket and tied it around the wound. It wasn't deep. The bullet had just grazed her. "You'll be okay," Jack said. "But you need to see Doc Harris." Clara nodded. Tears ran down her cheeks. "Thank you," she whispered. Jack stood up. He didn't like being thanked. It made him feel strange. "How much do you owe?" he asked. Clara blinked. "What? How much does Pike want?" $50, Clara said. "But I can't pay it. I got no money, no job. My husband left me nothing but debts." Jack reached into his coat. He pulled out a small leather pouch. It jingled with coins. He'd stolen it from a stagecoach 2 days ago. He was supposed to give it to Colt tonight. He handed it to Clara. Her eyes went wide. I can't take this. You can, Jack said. Pay Pike. Keep the rest. But. Go, Jack said. Before he comes back. Clara stared at him for a long moment. Then she took the pouch and ran. Jack watched her disappear into the crowd on Main Street. He felt something heavy settle in his chest. He knew what he'd just done. He'd crossed Colt Brennan, and Colt didn't forgive. Jack turned and walked toward his horse. He needed to leave town, fast. But when he reached the hitching post, someone was waiting for him. A woman. She was older, maybe 60, with gray hair pulled back in a tight bun. She wore a simple brown dress and wire-rimmed glasses. Jack recognized her. Her name was Miss Ruth Carter. She used to be the schoolteacher in Red Mesa before she retired. Mr. Mallory? She said. Jack didn't stop. He untied his horse. Not a good time, Miss Carter. I saw what you did, she said. Jack froze. His hand was on the saddle. You gave Clara Bennett money, Miss Carter said. Money you stole. Jack looked at her. Her face was calm. She didn't look angry or scared. She looked curious. So? Jack said. So you're not the man everyone thinks you are, Miss Carter said. Jack climbed onto his horse. You don't know me. Maybe not, Miss Carter said. But I know you've been leaving money on doorsteps. Jack's heart stopped. I've been watching, Miss Carter said. Every week, another widow finds coins or food at her door. No one knows where it comes from. But I do. Jack stared at her. His mind raced. If she knew, who else knew? If Colt found out Jack was giving away stolen money instead of bringing it back, he'd kill him. What do you want? Jack said. Miss Carter smiled. It was a small, sad smile. I want to know why. Jack didn't answer. He couldn't. Because if he told her the truth, he'd have to remember the one thing he'd spent 20 years trying to forget. His mother, alone, starving, begging for help that never came. I have to go, Jack said. He turned his horse toward the edge of town. Mr. Mallory, Miss Carter called after him. I won't tell anyone, but I will find out. Jack didn't look back. He kicked his horse into a gallop and rode out of Red Mesa as fast as he could. But he knew one thing for certain. Miss Ruth Carter was going to be a problem. Jack rode hard for 2 hours before he stopped. His horse needed water. So did he. He found a creek hidden between 2 rocky hills. The sun was starting to set. Orange light spread across the desert like fire. Jack dismounted and let his horse drink. He knelt by the water and splashed his face. The cold made him gasp. He kept thinking about Miss Ruth Carter. She knew. She'd been watching him. For how long? Weeks? Months? And what was she going to do with that information? Jack told himself it didn't matter. He'd leave Red Mesa, find another town, start over. But he knew that was a lie. He couldn't leave, not yet. There were still widows in Red Mesa who needed help. Mrs. Peterson with her 3 children. Mrs. Walsh, who was going blind. Mrs. Chen, who'd just lost her husband to fever. If Jack left, who would help them? He stood up and walked back to his horse. That's when he heard the sound of hoofbeats. Multiple horses, coming fast. Jack grabbed his rifle and took cover behind a boulder. He watched the trail. 5 riders appeared over the ridge. Jack recognized them immediately. Colt Brennan and his men. Jack's stomach dropped. They'd found him. Faster than he expected. The riders stopped near the creek. Colt was in front. He was a big man with a scar across his left cheek and cold gray eyes. He wore black from head to toe. "Mallory!" Colt shouted. "I know you're here. Pike told me what you did." Jack didn't move. Maybe they'd give up and leave. "You shot one of my men," Colt said. "Over some widow. That's real stupid, Jack." One of the other riders laughed. Jack recognized him too. His name was Dutch. He was Colt's second in command. "Come out, Jack," Dutch called. "Let's talk like gentlemen." Jack knew there was no talking with these men. If he showed himself, they'd kill him. But if he stayed hidden, they'd search until they found him. Jack made a choice. He stood up, rifle in hand. "There he is," Colt said with a smile. "Nice and easy, Jack. Put the gun down." "No," Jack said. Colt's smile faded. "You're outnumbered 5-1. Don't be an idiot." "I'm already an idiot," Jack said. "That's why I'm here." Colt dismounted. He walked toward Jack slowly, his hand near his gun. "Pike says you gave that widow money," Colt said. "My money. Money from the stagecoach job." Jack didn't answer. "That true?" Colt asked. "Yes," Jack said. Colt stopped walking. He looked genuinely surprised. "Why?" "Because she needed it," Jack said. Colt stared at him. Then he laughed. It was a mean laugh, full of disbelief. "You gave away our money because some woman needed it?" Colt said. "What are you, a charity?" The other men laughed too. Jack's grip tightened on his rifle. "She was going to lose her house." "So what?" Colt said. "That ain't your problem, Jack. Your problem is you work for me. And when you work for me, you don't give away what we steal. You bring it back. All of it." "I bring back enough," Jack said. "Not anymore," Colt said. His voice went cold. "Dutch has been keeping count. Last 6 months, you've been short on every job, always missing a little. $20 here, 30 there. Where's it going, Jack?" Jack didn't answer. "I'll tell you where," Colt said. "You've been playing Santa Claus, leaving money for widows and orphans like you're some kind of hero." Jack's jaw clenched. "I'm no hero." "You got that right," Colt said. "You're a thief, just like me, just like all of us. And thieves don't give money away. They keep it." "Maybe I'm tired of keeping it," Jack said. Colt's hand moved to his gun. "Then maybe you're tired of living." The air went still. Jack could feel the weight of the moment. 5 guns against 1. No cover, no escape. But then something unexpected happened. Another horse appeared on the ridge. Everyone turned. It was Miss Ruth Carter. She sat on an old brown mare, her back straight, her face calm. She looked completely out of place in the desert at sunset, like a schoolteacher who'd wandered into the wrong story. "What the hell?" Dutch muttered. Colt frowned. "Who are you?" Miss Carter rode down the slope and stopped between Jack and Colt. She dismounted like she had all the time in the world. "My name is Ruth Carter," she said, "and I'm here to tell you something important." Colt looked at her like she was insane. "Lady, you picked a bad time for a conversation." "No," Miss Carter said. "I picked the perfect time." Jack stared at her. "Miss Carter, you need to leave. Now." She ignored him. She looked straight at Colt. "Mr. Brennan, I know who you are," she said. "And I know what you do. You steal. You hurt people. You take what doesn't belong to you." Colt's face darkened. "You got about 10 seconds to ride away before I shoot you." "But you won't," Miss Carter said calmly, "because I have information you want." That got Colt's attention. He narrowed his eyes. "What kind of information?" "Information about Jack Mallory," Miss Carter said. "About why he's been giving your money away." Jack's heart stopped. "Miss Carter, don't." She looked at him. Her eyes were kind but firm. "They deserve to know, Jack, and so do you." "Know what?" Colt demanded. Miss Carter turned back to Colt. 20 years ago, there was a woman in Red Mesa named Sarah Mallory. She was a widow. Her husband died in a mine collapse. She had a 12-year-old son named Jack. Jack felt his chest tighten. "Sarah had no money," Miss Carter continued. "No family, no way to feed her boy. She begged for help. She went to the church, the bank, the mayor. Everyone turned her away." Colt glanced at Jack, then back at Miss Carter. "So?" "So she starved," Miss Carter said quietly. "Right there in Red Mesa, while everyone watched, while everyone did nothing." The desert went silent. Jack couldn't breathe. "Jack found her one morning," Miss Carter said. "Dead in their cabin. She'd given him the last of the food the night before, told him she wasn't hungry." Tears burned in Jack's eyes, but he didn't let them fall. Colt's expression changed. It wasn't quite sympathy, but it wasn't cruelty either. It was something closer to understanding. "So that's why," Colt said softly. "You've been helping widows because nobody helped your mother." Jack looked away. "It doesn't matter." "Yes, it does," Miss Carter said. "Because you're not a bad man, Jack. You're a broken one. And you've been trying to fix what happened by saving everyone your mother wasn't saved." "Touching story," Dutch said from his horse. "But he still stole from us." Colt held up a hand. "Quiet." He walked closer to Jack. They stood face to face. "I should kill you," Colt said. "I know," Jack said. "But I'm not going to," Colt said. Jack blinked. "Why not?" Colt was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Because I had a mother too, and she died the same way." Jack stared at him. "My mother was a widow in Kansas," Colt said. "Nobody helped her either. I was 10 when she died. I swore I'd never be helpless again. So I became this." He gestured to himself. "A man people fear." Jack didn't know what to say. "You and me, we ain't so different," Colt said. "We just chose different ways to deal with the same pain." "So what now?" Jack asked. Colt stepped back. "Now you leave. Take your horse and get out of Red Mesa. Don't come back." "But the widows—" "I'll handle it," Colt said. Jack frowned. "You?" "I ain't gonna rob them," Colt said. "I'll make sure Pike and the others leave them alone. That's the best I can offer." It wasn't perfect, but it was something. Jack looked at Miss Carter. She smiled. "Go on, Jack," she said. "You've done enough." Jack wanted to argue, but he knew she was right. He'd spent 20 years trying to save his mother, but she was already gone. Maybe it was time to save himself instead. Jack climbed onto his horse. He looked at Colt one last time. "Thank you," Jack said. Colt nodded. "Don't make me regret this." Jack rode away into the desert as the sun disappeared below the horizon. But he only made it a mile before he heard gunshots behind him. Jack turned his horse around and rode back as fast as he could. When he reached the creek, he saw something that made his blood run cold. Miss Ruth Carter was on the ground, and Colt was standing over her with a smoking gun. Jack jumped off his horse before it even stopped. He ran to Miss Carter and dropped to his knees beside her. "No, no, no," Jack said. But when he reached for her, Miss Carter sat up. She wasn't shot. She was fine. Jack looked around, confused. Then he saw the body on the ground 10 feet away. It was Dutch. He had a bullet hole in his chest. Colt was putting his gun back in his holster. His face was hard. "What happened?" Jack said. Colt looked at him. "Dutch didn't like my decision. Soon as you rode off, he drew on me. Said I was going soft. Said he'd kill the old woman and then come after you." Jack looked at Dutch's body, then at the other 3 riders. They sat frozen on their horses, hands away from their guns. "Anyone else got a problem with my decision?" Colt asked them. They all shook their heads. "Good," Colt said. "Take Dutch back to camp. Tell the others what happens when someone questions me." The 3 men dismounted. They lifted Dutch's body onto his horse and rode away without a word. Jack helped Miss Carter to her feet. "Are you hurt?" "Just startled," she said. Mr. Brennan moved very quickly. Colt walked over to them. "You should go too, Miss Carter. This ain't a place for schoolteachers." "I'm retired," Miss Carter said. "So I go where I please." Despite everything, Colt almost smiled. "You got courage, lady. I'll give you that." Miss Carter brushed the dust off her dress. "Mr. Brennan, may I ask you something?" "Depends on the question," Colt said. "Why did you really let Jack go?" she asked. "It wasn't just because of your mother, was it?" Colt was quiet for a long moment. He looked out at the desert. "My mother used to tell me a story," he finally said, "about a wolf and a rabbit. The wolf was hungry. The rabbit was scared. But instead of running, the rabbit asked the wolf why he was so angry all the time." Jack listened carefully. "The wolf said he was angry because the world was cruel," Colt continued, "because nobody ever showed him kindness. So the rabbit did something crazy. It offered the wolf half its food." "What happened?" Miss Carter asked. "The wolf ate the food," Colt said. "But he didn't eat the rabbit. He let it go. And from that day on, whenever the wolf saw that rabbit, he remembered that one moment of kindness. And it made him a little less angry." Colt looked at Jack. "You're the rabbit, Mallory," Colt said. "You showed kindness to people who didn't deserve it. People like me. And maybe I'm tired of being angry all the time." Jack didn't know what to say. "But don't mistake this for friendship," Colt added. "You stay away from Red Mesa. If I see you again, the deal's off." Jack nodded. "Understood." Colt climbed onto his horse. He looked at Miss Carter one more time. "You take care of those widows, Miss Carter," he said. "Make sure they don't need help from men like us." "I will," Miss Carter said. Colt rode away into the darkness. Jack and Miss Carter stood alone by the creek. The stars were coming out above them. "You followed me," Jack said. "Yes," Miss Carter said. "Why?" "Because I knew you wouldn't run," she said. "I knew you'd want to come back for the widows, and I knew you'd need help." Jack looked at her. "You could have been killed." "So could you," Miss Carter said. "But some things are worth the risk." Jack sat down on a rock. He suddenly felt very tired. 20 years of running. 20 years of stealing and hiding and trying to fix something that couldn't be fixed. "I don't know what to do now," Jack admitted. Miss Carter sat down beside him. "You could start over. Somewhere new. Somewhere nobody knows your name." "And do what?" Jack asked. "I'm an outlaw. It's all I know." "That's not true," Miss Carter said. "You know how to care for people. You know how to sacrifice. Those are rare gifts, Jack." "Gifts that got my mother killed," Jack said bitterly. "No," Miss Carter said firmly. "Your mother died because this world is broken, not because of you. You were a child." Jack felt the tears come then. He couldn't stop them anymore. He cried for his mother, for the 12-year-old boy who found her, for the 20 years he'd spent trying to save people who reminded him of her. Miss Carter put her hand on his shoulder and let him cry. When Jack finally stopped, he felt lighter, like something heavy had been lifted off his chest. "What happened to your mother wasn't your fault," Miss Carter said gently. "And you can't save her by saving everyone else. She's gone, Jack. But you're still here. Jack wiped his eyes. So what do I do? You live, Miss Carter said. You find a new path. You become the man your mother would have wanted you to be. Jack thought about that. I don't even know what that looks like. Then we'll figure it out together, Miss Carter said. Jack looked at her, surprised. Together? Miss Carter smiled. I need help, Jack. There are 12 widows in Red Mesa right now. 12 women who need food, money, work, hope. I can't do it alone. But with your help, maybe we can build something. Something that actually lasts. I'm a wanted man, Jack said. I can't just walk back into town. Not as Jack Mallory the Outlaw, Miss Carter agreed. But maybe as someone else, a carpenter, a ranch hand, a quiet man who helps when no one's looking. Jack considered it. It would be dangerous. If anyone recognized him, he'd hang. But the idea of actually helping people instead of just throwing money at them and running away, that felt different. That felt like something his mother would approve of. What about Colt? Jack asked. He said to stay away. Mr. Brennan said he'd leave the widows alone, Miss Carter said. He didn't say anything about a retired schoolteacher hiring a helper. Jack almost laughed. You're cleverer than you look, Miss Carter. I taught children for 40 years, she said. You learned to be clever? Jack stood up. He looked back toward Red Mesa. He'd spent so long running from that town, from the memories, from the pain. Maybe it was time to stop running. Okay, Jack said. I'll help you. But if this goes wrong, it won't, Miss Carter said confidently. Well, how do you know? Because you're not alone anymore, she said. And that changes everything. They rode back to Red Mesa together under the stars. When they arrived, the town was quiet. Most people were asleep. Miss Carter took Jack to a small house on the edge of town. It was her house. Simple, but clean. You can stay in the back room, she said. No one will know you're here. Jack looked around. Won't people ask questions? Let them, Miss Carter said. I'll tell them you're my nephew from Kansas, here to help me in my old age. Over the next few weeks, Jack worked quietly. He fixed Mrs. Peterson's broken roof. He chopped wood for Mrs. Walsh. He helped Mrs. Chen plant a garden. He didn't use his real name. Miss Carter introduced him as James Carter, her nephew. People were suspicious at first. But Jack kept his head down and worked hard. Eventually, they stopped asking questions. One afternoon, Jack was repairing a fence behind Miss Carter's house when Clara Bennett appeared. She looked different than the last time he'd seen her. Healthier, less afraid. Mr. Carter? She said. Jack turned. Yes, ma'am? Clara studied his face. Have we met before? Jack's heart raced. I don't think so. Clara frowned. Then she shook her head. I'm sorry. You just remind me of someone. I get that a lot, Jack said. Clara smiled. Well, I wanted to thank Miss Carter for recommending you. My fence was falling apart. Could you take a look? Of course, Jack said. He followed Clara to her house. As he worked, she talked about her life, about her husband, about how hard it had been after he died. But things are better now, Clara said. Someone paid off my debt. I don't know who, but it saved my life. Jack kept working, not looking at her. That's good. Miss Carter says there are good people in this world, Clara continued. People who help without asking for anything back. I didn't believe her at first, but maybe she's right. Jack finished the fence. There you go. Should hold now. Clara paid him with fresh bread and jam. It's not much, but it's what I have. It's more than enough, Jack said. As he walked back to Miss Carter's house, Jack felt something he hadn't felt in years. peace. Not because he'd saved everyone, not because he'd fixed the past, but because he was doing something real, something that mattered. Miss Carter was waiting for him on the porch. "How did it go?" she asked. "Good," Jack said. He sat down beside her. "She didn't recognize me." "Even if she does someday, it won't matter," Miss Carter said. "You're not that man anymore." Jack looked out at the town, at the people walking by, at the widows who were surviving because someone finally cared. "Do you think my mother would be proud?" Jack asked quietly. Miss Carter took his hand. "I think she'd be very proud." Jack smiled. For the first time in 20 years, he believed her. The outlaw was gone, and in his place was a man who'd finally found his way home. The end. Moral lesson. People are rarely fully good or evil. Compassion reveals hidden stories.